Last week, you got to watch my happy little fountain pens dance around as if they were the stars of a silent film. So this week I thought we'd get in our time machine and add some spoken words to the film. I think this is what we call the talkies. So we're in the 1920s or something. Let's just say my cinema history knowledge is not on my resume. I'm not gonna spend 73,000 hours holding and talking about each of my pens, though maybe I will one day if, at least 2 of my 6 fans beg for it. Power to the people, after all. But for now, I thought I'd just talk through some of the highlights, some of the bigger categories within the collection, just to give you some sense of which way my nib nibbles. Note to self, trademark the phrase, which way my nib nibbles. I'm a genius. I thought I'd start off with the most expensive little suckers in my collection, just to trick you into thinking that I am rich. I've got 3 Pelicans, 2 M805s, or whichever number it is that means that they're silver and not gold. And then I've got that red one there is an M900 Toledo. So they're actually all fine nibs, but I'll show you here in a second. 2 of them have custom grinds. So this is the Ocean Swirl, which was a limited edition, I think back in 2018, 2019. And I actually have an architect grind on this nib done by the Nib Smith. This was my first architect nib, which was, kind of a risk to get it on my most expensive pen at the time. But it was actually a great risk. I love the way this nib writes. Yeah, look at that thing. It's like a talon coming for you. And we've got the Pelican metal stripe. This one was a limited edition at some point, I can't remember. The thing I like better about it than the Ocean Swirl is it has that ink window there. I mean, I love them both, don't get me wrong. But it also has a cursive italic nib grind on it, also done by the Nib Smith. Also a little weightier than the other, than the Ocean Swirl, because it does have that metal there in the barrel. And then the top-notch pen, if you're counting by the dollar signs in my collection, is the M900 Toledo. I got this as like a combination souvenir / anniversary present. When we were going on vacation in Australia, we went into a pen shop and I saw this there. And it was, I think it had been out many years at that point, but it was still sort of new in stock in their store. So I got a good deal on that. And this one just has a fine nib on it, no grind. I figured, if I was going to have 3 of them, I wanted a different nib on each one. Next up, we have some of my pilots. I actually don't have many. Oh, no, it looks like first I'm doing a sailor. I think I just actually wanted to show you guys this nib because it's probably the most insane nib in my collection. And actually, it's too much nib for me, really, and I'm going to sell it. I've only used this pen once, but it's a zoom nib with an architect grind on it by the Nib Smith. And don't get me wrong, it's amazing, but I'm left-handed and it is too much nib for me. And this is I think it's called the 4 a.m. It was a North American exclusive from Sailor. But yeah, that nib is intense. And then we're going to the pilots. I only have a couple vintage pens in my collection that I actually use, and those are pilots. We've got this Pilot Elite here. I don't know what if it's silver or if it's steel, but it's got this, nice little grid pattern on it. I didn't get it because I know a lot about vintage pens and I think it's some, fancy thing. I got it because I like the way it looks. I love the Pilot Elite pens. I like the size and the style and the inlaid nibs. So I bought, an old one because I like the way it looked. And then I have this Pilot vintage pen, has a similar sort of nib, but it's not a pocket pen. It's a larger pen. Has like the metal striping on it. I really liked that. And then in terms of other special Pilot pens, I've got this. I think it was officially called T Marble. It was exclusive to somewhere in Japan, and I, paid extra to have it sent here. Turns out I can't really write with the clip. So again, I've only used that pen once and I'll probably sell it at some point, although I've been saying that now for 4 or 5 years. So maybe I'll just keep it in a drawer and love it without using it. Next up, we've got my Franklin Christoph collection. I think this is all of them except for the ones that I've since purchased. This one that I'm holding now is the collaboration they did with Fig Boot on Pens. I really love that material. I think it's a Jonathan Brooks material. Yeah, it's a great pen. The Model 66 it's a big old pen, but I like that. I like it. I like the long pens. I like the fat pens. I think this might be another Brooks material. I'm not sure. But I got this at the Triangle Pen Show. I really like that material. And I also have several custom ground nibs from Franklin Christoph. I think this one I'm showing now is a cursive italic. It was the first... this may have been the first custom grind I had on any pen. Got it at the Triangle Pen Show, but not the same one as the other Triangle Pen Show. I've been to it twice. But the Pocket 66 is a great pen. My first Franklin Christoph was a Pocket 66 in the antique glass. Really love it. And I think I have 4 or 5 of them now. Again, they're not actually all here in the shot. And then this, I've got a few Kaweikos. They're not my favorite pens. The reason I got this one is when we went to Australia, I wanted something that you could only get in Australia in terms of a pen. And then they have a store there called Milligram that had this special color that they made with Kaweiko. So I got one of those. And then in terms of pocket pens, I've also got these Schon DSGN pens. I bought that purple one at the DC Pen Show when I went. And then this one here is solid copper, I think. Yeah, it looks like copper. Very heavy, but it's a small pen, so it's not overwhelming. I love a good, all metal pen. And then here I'm starting to show you some of my pens from different sort of custom makers. The ones I've got now in the tray are from Butterknife Creations. I'll put the names for the different makers in the description below. I don't think I'm fancy enough on YouTube that I can actually do any sort of links, but at least I can type out the names so that you could search them. These pens I've all bought from him through Instagram messages. A few of them I've had custom made. A couple of them he's just posted for sale and I've bought. The thing I love most about his pens, and I think all my models are the same, are the curvy body on it. This one here is in a material called, I think, Emerald Toad Belly. It's a really interesting material. It's mostly green, but then it has these yellow swirls with red flecks in it. I don't think I've really seen this material on another pen before, but I saw it when I was trying to decide on what to have him make, and it turned out great. And then here are my Scriptorium pens. This orange one I love. I just happened to catch it when she posted it for sale on Instagram. And I actually got a custom ground nib with it. I had them do a needle point. I think it's the nib grinder that does her nibs. And then this one is the one that I've had custom made by her. It took, a long time, I think like a year to come up on the list, but definitely worth it. It's an oversized model. And I have this, because it has a nib window, I have this really special 18 karat nib on it with the triangle breather hole that I think I got from nibs.com. Don't quote me on that, but it's somewhere that sells nibs and you can get sort of special ones. And I just wanted something to, peek through that nib window. I love a good nib window. I don't know why. I just really like the way they look. This one here also has a nice nib window. This is by Herbert Pens with his ribbon material. It was a Christmas present, I believe, from my mother. And then the material in the center I think is called honeysuckle. It's kind of a crazy looking pen. It doesn't even, it's not an ink window in it. It's more of a pen butt window, but that blue in there is also from Herbert Pens. I believe that was a birthday present from my mother, who also, she likes pens too, and it really helps out at gifting time. And then here are just a few of my other custom pens in the collection. I actually don't even know who all of them are by, but I did want to show this pen with the turtle roll stop. It's my little custom turtle, and I can't remember who it's by now, but I will definitely put their name down in the description. One of my newer pens is my Loft Pens tiger stripe pen that I got for Christmas. It's a really cool pen. I love a stripy pen. And then this here is from RiverCity Pens. I love it because it's a fatty, and also because it's sort of like, I don't know, it makes me think of like sherbet ice cream. This pen I think is from Brute Force Designs, Japanese ebonite. This one I know is definitely from Newton Pens. Love this pen. It's very like vintage antique-y vibes while still being modern. It's got the ebonite cap and section, and then sort of the semi-translucent barrel. And this is another pilot I forgot to show you before, but it's my Sterling turtle pen. I got this as I think it was a Valentine's present from my husband, which is like the fanciest Valentine's present I've ever gotten, for sure. It could probably use a polish, but he got a broad nib, which normally I don't use. I usually go as high as medium, but actually the broad nib on that pen is great. And then here on the left, we've got some woodshed pens. I don't think he exists anymore. I think he had his Kickstarter, and then there was, I think, some drama around not fulfilling the pledges or something, or maybe they're still ongoing. I don't know, but he doesn't, he's not around anymore. That seems like a weird note to end this on, but we're at the end, so I'm going to end it there. So yeah, these were some of my fountain pens. We just got back from the Baltimore Pen Show on Sunday, so we took a lot of footage there. We'll be cutting that together to show you all. It might take us a little time because we got so much footage. And I'll show you my haul from the show in that video. In the meantime, if you have any questions about any of the pens or anything like that, yeah, definitely hit me up below, and I'll talk about them for hours with you. Thanks, I'll see y'all next time.